Thinking back, I don't think there's been anything that has changed my photography, changed my career more than this single piece of advice. In fact, if I would have followed this early on, I would have saved myself at least 10 years. This piece of advice might be more for the beginners out there, those who are just starting their career and wondering how they're gonna make money with their camera. Or, it might be for the pros who are looking for a change. It's so simple that it actually kind of sounds dumb. When you think about it, it's like, of course, but really I wasted 10 years of my career starting out because even though I knew it, I wouldn't listen. Or maybe I didn't have the courage, but I still wasted a bunch of time because I didn't take this to heart. So I'm using the grids and the guides inside of Capture One to line up each one of these wafer cookies. It's pretty meticulous work, but it should be worth it. It's been said 1,000 times before, but I'll be that 1,001 guy for those of you that need it, like I did, and still do, and always will. Now, there's one thing that pretty much all aspiring photographers say at one point or another. They say, I want to take pictures, but I just don't know what to take pictures of. I myself have said it at least 1,000,000 times. In college, I learned everything about the camera, but I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I decided journalism and street photography. That morphed into travel photography, stock photography. That morphed again to time-lapse and nature stuff. Then I started to get serious and I did some ad work, but I still wasn't really happy with my work. I still really didn't know how I was going to turn this passion for photography into a paying career. I see people's portfolios and they're a lot like mine was. They're a mix of this, a mix of that, and none of it's really working. So the simple piece of advice is this. You want to become a professional photographer? You want to make a career with that camera? First, you need to do this before anything else. You need to find out what it is outside of photography that you're interested in, then go photograph that. Your career can't be the camera because that's the tool that you're gonna use to make money. It has to be something outside the realm of photography that you really like. So you found it? Yeah? Well, now go photograph that. That's your career. Now before you settle, it has to be something pretty specific. It can't be nature or people or something general like that. Your hobby, your passion, really narrow it down. It could be rock climbing or camping or hiking or cooking, but really find your passion first and then use your camera to make other people passionate about it as well. Man, this smell brings me right back to my childhood. If you're saying right now, well, gee, there's nothing I'm passionate about outside of photography, you need to think harder. It could be dirt biking, mountain biking, drifting, hunting, handcrafted, naturally sourced watch bands. There's something there inside of everyone that's not the camera. But I'll say it again, it has to be something really personal to you. It's your career, so you have to really love this genre. Man, these are a lot more crumbly than I remember. Now, before you go off into the world with this advice, I have 2 more caveats that come with it. One is, whatever you picked right now will most likely still be too general. You have to narrow it down. And 2, everyone, especially here on YouTube, will tell you that their path in that particular genre is the only way to make real money. I'm just gonna use my genre for an example. I love to cook. I'm fascinated by what chefs can do. So I choose food, that's my genre. But that's still pretty general. So I'm just gonna take a picture of the blank backdrop now. I'm gonna wipe off all the crumbs and then I have my 3 wafer photos and I'm gonna do a whole lot of Photoshop to make this stop motion. There's a lot of different types of food photographers. Editorial, magazine, cookbook photographers. You have your commercial food photographers. People who photograph specifically for chefs. Think high profile people or even bloggers. Liquid and beverage photographers. Crazy slow motion robotics photographers. Then you have all the same categories for video. All can make really good money. Some though are harder than others, but once you find that passion, that interest, outside of photography like cooking or hiking, you need to break that passion into some subgenres that interest you most. If you want to be a golf photographer, you could be that sweeping landscape golf course photographer. You could be that golf product photographer, or more on the action sports side, taking pictures or video during the matches. Maybe your passion is hiking and you want to take your camera out into nature, but instead of being a landscape photographer like everyone else, You could niche down and specialize in really epic camping shots. You are the photographer who makes really fun around the campfire lifestyle shots. You're the fly fishing photographer. You're the hunting photographer that focuses on that lifestyle. Your subgenre could be photographing hiking products in their environment. Basically, you have your genre. That's your hobby. That's what you're really passionate about outside of photography. And then you can break that down even further, and that's your niche. Niches can be broke down even further, and it's okay to have more than one, but I suggest getting really good at one before you branch off to another. However, it all starts with that first piece of advice. You have to find something outside of photography to point your camera to. And it should be something that you're really truly interested in. Because if you do, you'll care about it, you'll respect it, and you'll want to make good images because of that respect. Now, the second thing is people are gonna tell you, especially here on YouTube, that one niche is better than the other, mainly money-wise. And they'll say that because they found success in one niche and either failed or were not successful in another. It is true. Some niches are easier than others. Some genres are easier than others. But I want to say it's not 100%. The problem with that logic is it kind of defeats the purpose of finding a niche in the first place. If you do it just for the money, you won't care about it. You'll float around to whatever brings in the most money, likes, or accolades, and more than likely, you won't make very good images. It actually defeats the purpose of being a photographer, because if you're in it for the money, there's a lot more fields out there that make a lot more money than photography. I broke down my own genre, food, into a bunch of different categories or niches, and I've seen people make a ton of money in every single one of them, like a ton of money. It's true that some niches inside the genres might pay more consistently than others, like commercial food photography might pay more consistently than editorial and cookbook jobs, but it's not that I haven't seen big money and big jobs in those areas as well. Ultimately, if you're passionate about it, it's a lot easier to make good money at it. The rest, it's just faith and hard work. I think the big takeaway here is that if you want to be successful at photography and make it a career that you love, you need to find that thing outside of photography that you're really passionate about. Then you niche down from there. Then, and I think this is the most important part, you photograph the hell out of it. You photograph it until you're the best in that niche. I mean, is that possible? Well, there's always someone better, but you photograph it until you become undeniable, because when you become undeniable, that's when you get those big jobs and that big money in whatever niche or genre it is. So this is what I was working on today. It turned out pretty cool. Originally, I was thinking of doing a traditional stop motion where I would move each wafer cookie one at a time with every photo, but in the end, I just really couldn't be bothered. I kind of thought it was a waste of time, and I think I saved myself kind of a huge headache by just taking the three images and creating the stop motion with masks and resaving the image inside of Photoshop. All in all, those 3 images turned into about 50, and it looks pretty cool. It's graphic, bright, and it definitely fits my commercial style. And I think this is gonna go in my new portfolio. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. If so, drop some comments down below. Give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, all that good stuff really helps out. And I'll see you in the next one. Man, I need some more coffee.